Yeah, just so you know, I know you just got here. Right now, what I'm about to do, I'm about to underwrite this triplex that me and Erica got on the contract last week. Let me see. All right, so this is the post that I saw: $145,000 triplex, 1516 Union Ave. He's basically telling you everything that's going on with the property. They're each 2 bedroom, 1 baths. Um, from the looks of it, it looked like just a nice basic deal, right? And then when I pull up out there, it's in one of the better areas of town. This is the worst house. This is like what you want to look for. The worst house on the best block. Right next door to it, it's a comp for $400,000. This triplex is on the corner lot. The comp that's across the street is on the corner lot for 400,000. So I offered 120. No, I think I offered 110 at first. And he declined it. Long story short, we ended up getting under contract for 130. So worst case scenario, let's go into the repairs. Worst case scenario, I already know we're gonna strip it down to the studs. It's gonna be a full gut. So
Why
if
do you know that already?
I'm looking at it. And like this is the thing, when you've been in enough houses, you know, hey, this is gonna need a new roof, this is gonna need new foundation, this is gonna need new siding, new electrical, new plumbing. That's basically a full gut.
But even just looking at this outside, like the floors are no good. You know what I mean? All of that out, all that other stuff.
Uh
Also, cause the roof is gone. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, the roof is gone. So when the roof is that bad, repair, it's leaking water in the inside. So that means everything in there got to come out because it's molded and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And plus I sent Erica had went over there with our contractor too to kind of verify everything. So once they went through it, it just basically verified like, hey, this is gonna be a full gut job. So we we budgeted like 100,000 in repairs, but I even took it a step further to be conservative to budget it at 150. So let's say worst case scenario, it costs 150 to repair it. I got it under contract for 130. So I'm all in at 280. So that's all in at 280. This is with it being fully rehabbed. $150,000 to repair it, 130 to buy it. What's the comp?
400,000 that's next door.
Right. So the comp is 400,000 next door. And on top of that, our building has 500. It has what they got, 2,200. So ours got 800 more square feet than that. It got 800 more square feet than the comp. So that's even better news. But I'm gonna keep the comp at 400, even though I know it's gonna be even more than that, based on what we're gonna do with it. So we got 3 units. They're both gonna be fully renovated, 2 ones. It's enough space in the backyard. I don't know if you can see the well, you don't got the pictures here, but I don't know if you can see it's in bad shape. But as you can see, the house next door is fixed up. And in the back, we're gonna put a tiny house. So we're gonna literally have 4 units instead of 3. So let's get into the numbers, right? So I'm all in at 280. The comps are 400. Can somebody tell me why y'all think this is a good deal or it's not a good deal? Just based off these simple numbers.
Well, the spread is 120, so I think that's good, regardless if you need a little bit of more wiggle room for anything else. Your spread right now is 120. So say you had an unexpected cost, let's say 20,000, you still had 100 grand.
Right. And on top of that,
It's a triplet.
we got $100,000 in equity. We're going to be cash flowing off the rents. And since this is in one of the better parts of town, we could potentially get appreciation on it. So, like I said, 400,000 is really super conservative. I'm thinking more like 500K or 550 because it's income producing. So it's gonna be looked at a little differently. I know it's still considered residential with 3 units, but tell that to an investor when it's bringing in $5,000 a month. I'm thinking we can get 1,500 each unit. So that'll put us at 4,500 just for the building, and also we probably can get 1,500 for the tiny house. So that'll put us at 6,000. So based on the 1% rule, if these 4 units are generating $6,000 a month, who can tell me what the ARV is based on the 1% rule if it's bringing in 6,000 a month?
600,000.
600,000, right? Correct. So this is a good deal based on these numbers. And that's what made me make the decision to move forward with it. I didn't even know it was a $400,000 comp until I ran the numbers. And that was just like the icing on the cake. It may be even more higher comps out there, but I kind of stopped at that one because that's really all I needed. It's right next door. It's 800 square feet less. And, based on what we're going to do with it, I think it's going to be worth well over 400,000.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So when you're doing comps, and this is a unique structure, this is a triplex, the factor of it, you're gutting it down. Are you restructuring it to be a single family?
No.
Or is it going to be a triplex still?
It's going to be a triplex.
How do you compare those as a comp? Are you comparing other triplexes or residential properties? What kind of comps are you utilizing since it's right next door another triplex?
No, I'm not even using the triplex because it's probably not another one in the vicinity. I'm using the comp right next door. Based on the square footage. I mean, it's in the same area. I know typically on paper you want to compare triplexes to triplexes, duplexes to duplexes. But in this scenario, if there's none in the area, then you got to go compare it to a single family house based on the square footage, based on the finishes, based on the age of the house, and everything like that.
So my question to you about that is like the bedrooms become a factor because, of course, the triplex will have more bedrooms than the single family home. So I would assume when I've been doing comps on like quadplexes or triplexes or a duplex that might have 3 bedrooms on each side, it's hard for me to find a comp with like 6 bedrooms in the same area. So how do I face that demon?
So you're saying, how do you compare?
Or do I just do square footage? Because I always think that these type of multifamily structures going to have precedence of more rooms than a single family home as a comp in the area. So
Yeah.
do you not comp based on the bedrooms and bathrooms, or do you just do square footage, that type of thing, and updates?
I would do both. I would not the bedrooms and bathrooms, but I would base it off the income that it generates. That's one way you can do it. So like
that'd be the rate in case that house was rented out. It would be the rent rate in the area.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of a different situation when you're dealing with multifamily because
they can use the 1% rule on that if that'll help her out when she's doing a deal, how much she's written each unit for.
Yeah, that 1%.
I guess the question is, how do you do a comp on a triplex when you have single family structures that are not obviously comparable to the subject? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you how do you difference the difference in a single, maybe I'm
based it on the income. That's what I'm saying. I'll base it on the income and then use the 1% rule to come up with the answer. So if I'm getting $1,500 a unit when all these units are fixed up and I'm getting $1,500 for the tiny house on the back and it's generating $6,000 a month. And let's say if I go to refinance, I'm going to show this to the bank. The bank is going to take that into consideration when they're running the appraisal. Like, hey, this is an income producing property. It's bringing in $6,000 a month. The 1% rule just basically tells me that it's going to be worth $600,000.
without having anything else in the neighborhood that's a triplex, or it is a quad down the street though, and it's sold for like 8 something. So
Oh,
I'm gonna find
that
it.
helps.
Yeah.
See.
So and that's even better, right? Because
Yeah.
with tiny house, in essence, we do got a quad, you know. And I wish you could see the back because in between the this main structure and the tiny house is going to be a courtyard. So it's going to be kind of like a community, and you can basically throw a rock and hit the park. So you've got basically got a park in your backyard and a park across the street. It's a walkable neighborhood, and that's the kind of play we're going with. Did I answer your question, Crayon?
Yes, I just will have to maybe just research a little further. I get what you're saying, but this has happened to me as an obstacle, so I was just trying to get some answers. But okay,
Okay.
the 1% rule will be something I'll have to get on paper and write down myself and underwrite something myself like that. Because I've come into this obstacle where I've had like a building or multifamily in the middle of something that was nothing but single family homes, and there's no comps within a 2-mile radius, 5-mile radius, or whatever.
But
But I never knew.
now I was going to ask, but did you base it off the income that is generating or
I
potential?
did not, because I did not. There's no other income-based properties in the area, so I mean, I guess you
Base
can
it
look
on
at a
that
single
property
family
alone.
home, huh?
I said, but you can base it on that property alone, based on what it's generating.
And you utilize the 1% rule.
Right.
Yeah, because it's
Okay,
unique because you didn't have anything else around it to
there you
be
go.
able to like base numbers on. So then that's when you fall back to the 1% rule that says
Understood.
what the income is bringing in is what it's going to be valued at.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
that makes sense now. I understand now. Okay.
we ran into this same issue with the duplex because it wasn't nothing around that was
Around it, yeah.
comparable because the duplex is so big. It was nothing else around that could compare to the duplex. So they did it based on what they did it based on the income approach.
I think the income or the rents, one of the two.
No,
But
yeah,
yeah,
they did it. They did it based on the income approach, which is basically what I'm trying to say that you can do. Like, and this was the appraiser. They use it's 3 different ways to come up with the number: the sales approach, the income approach, and the price per square feet. And the price per square feet, that's really like is because hard to do it that way because just because it's the same square footage, that don't mean the finishes are the same.
right.
But the income
Yep.
approach is like the next best in line outside of the sales comps.
I remember that now that y'all speaking on those terms, you're bringing me back to real estate 101, and there are other ways besides doing comps than just the sales approach. So I'm going to utilize that now. I appreciate that. So, you're not doing these every day, so you're not really running comps like this traditionally every day. So it is good that you have it in front of us to reroute ourselves. So it's not only just one way to run comps.
Yeah, and I want to do more like underwriting stuff because I know last week y'all liked the way we did the underwriting, so I want to do it again. And like I said, we just got another property, so I just want to help y'all underwrite deals. So shit, when y'all bringing them, hell, bring them to me because we can partner on them or you can get a commission, however you want to do it. But I do want y'all to know how to underwrite these deals because once you learn how to eyeball a deal, that's then you're gonna start. I mean, what I'm trying to say is once you learn how to find a deal and separate a good deal from a bad deal, then you can start acting on them or sending them to people that that can close these deals. And like I said, I just saw this on Facebook, and and we took it down. So anybody got any questions on anything on this property?
I had a question. So as far as appraisers and lenders are concerned, what method do they typically use when running comps? Because I know everybody's different and everybody uses something different, but what is the main one that they base it upon?
That's a good question, man. And I'm gonna tell you why it's a good question, because we had the same issue. So the sales comp approach is the number one way to do it by comparable sales. But then if you can't find it there, you go down the little steps here. So we had the same issue on the duplex. on paper, we were supposed to only bring 5,700 to closing. Based on the sales comp approach, the duplex appraised at 226. For some reason, at the last minute, the day before closing, they didn't want to use the sales comp approach. They wanted to use the income approach. Now the fucking income approach was 210. So that means we had to bring an extra 16,000 to closing. So plus the 5,700. So we ended up bringing 22,000 to closing. When if they would have used the sales comp approach, we would only have to bring 5,700 to closing. So
Does one have precedence over the other?
the sales comp approach is the best way to do it. But what the lender was telling us was they didn't like the way that the appraiser ran his numbers. And I'm like, well, that ain't my problem because we paid for the appraisal and we if the appraisal would have came back low, we would have accepted that. But he came in at 226, which was over what I underwrote it for. So they basically, and I'm just gonna be real, I think they fucked us, but they basically was like, look, nah, well, your underwriting was at 210, so we're gonna go with 210, which made us have to bring another 16,000 to close, and on top of that 5,700. But what you gonna do when you the day before closing and we know we got a good deal? So we went on and went through with it because we're gonna get the money back. But it kind of threw stuff off because it's other deals out here that like that's working capital, that's working capital that we could use to do other deals. But it is what it is. And I told Chip about that, but they better not do that shit again.
Can you hold lenders to their I don't know what analogy to use, but can you hold them accountable? Is there a way you can hold them accountable for what they said they were gonna do so things like that can't happen?
So yeah, of course. And that's what I told Chip. I was like, all right, well, next time when I underwrite my deals, I'm just gonna inflate everything. Cause he was like, well, so this was his reasoning to why I shouldn't be mad. He was like, well, that's what you underwrote it for. I'm like, well, because I underwrite conservatively.
Conservatively, yeah.
Like, don't penalize me for writing good numbers. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, well, next time, all right, I know what to do. I'll just inflate everything.
Yeah, and then I kind of with the lenders, you have to kind of go with them because especially if you're asking for their capital, and at the end, you know how they came out and said we needed more money. We didn't have a choice. It wasn't like you can just go say, hey, well, I'm not gonna put more money down. We got to get the deal closed. The seller wanted his money, and we have to do it. Yeah,
but at the end of the day, the numbers still make sense. The money's not lost. We're gonna get it back on the refi. And the main thing about that is he created momentum. Momentum is a real thing.
Yeah.
So that created momentum. So when this triplex came up, we can move on it that quick because we already got some type of momentum flow going. So it was worth it, but it would have been even better to bring $5,000 to closing than 21 grand. But that's just some of the stuff that happens, and we really couldn't do nothing about it. But I had a similar situation on a flip, and I'm gonna be quick with this one, but the night before closing, the lender, so I was the listing agent, the buyer. I was everything. Like I listed it, I bought it. But the day before closing, the hard money lender, and I was supposed to get like $7,000 to buy this house. The night before closing, the hard money lender was like, you can't get a check back from this deal. So shit, that $7,000 was already spent on construction. You know what I'm saying? So I had to write up an amendment in the 25th hour and leave $7,500 on the table. It's always some BS, but that was just that particular hard money lender that they said I can't get money back at closing. But if I were to use somebody else, they wouldn't care if I got a check back at closing.
Right.
I mean, to me, I'm just being creative and smart. It was a listing. I decided to buy it myself. And what I should have did was, but in hindsight, I didn't have time to do this. you know, because they did it the night before. But, you know, that was that situation. But anybody else got any questions on this deal in anything in regards to underwriting or, you know, rehabs? Yeah, you don't got anything?
The only question I had really was, you said you were adding like a tiny house. So does that make that two separate things, or is it going to be considered a quad when you?
Well, it won't be considered a quad. It'll be a triplex with a tiny house on the back, because the tiny house guidelines says that you could put a tiny house on any house as long as it's 15 feet away from the main structure, the main dwelling, and the tiny house can't be more than 700 square feet. So if you follow those guidelines, you can put tiny houses on the back of houses. And what I did was once I got this property under contract, I went right in the neighborhood, and other homes in the neighborhood have tiny houses on the back. Y'all always hear me talk about highest and best use, right? So that's why I'm like, at this point, I'm trying to do the highest and best use. What can I do on this plot of land? First thing I can do is renovate this entire triplex and bring it up to today's standard and code and modernness. And another thing that I can do to maximize this lot is to put a tiny house on the back, which is gonna cost me $30,000, but it's probably gonna bring another $100,000, $150,000 in value because it's bringing in $1,500 a month.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna get my guy. He actually just called me. I'm gonna get my guy Booker T. Washington to get on and talk to you all more about the tiny houses and stuff, because you all may have come across deals, and it's a way that you can get paid on that by putting the tiny houses on back of other people's properties. It's no different from getting an agreement from the seller and saying, hey, I want to put this tiny house on the back of your property. Let's say that tiny house is gonna bring in $800 a month. You pay them, you say, here, I pay you 150, whatever you agree with, I pay you X amount a month. As long as you create that spread, you didn't have to buy the house. All you had to do was use your brain and get them to agree to it. Yeah, so
Would you go into like, would that be like you leasing it at that point? And then, you know, that's a lease agreement. What kind of agreement would that be?
I would say that would be a land lease agreement. You would do like a land lease to lease.
And let me ask you, are you guys, since you guys are building a tiny house on the back of a property, I think that's awesome. I actually sold a commercial unit that had 2 properties on the back, and they were like, I don't really know what kind of structures you would call them, but people lived in them. But when they sold the property, it was an old retail store, and they didn't even factor in nothing with those houses in the back. I mean, they just didn't hold any value.
Well, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the one up in up north, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't hold no value because they was ran down. Like, but this tiny house is gonna be generating income.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a world of difference than having 2 rundown sheds on a property.
One more question. Now, what kind of land would need to be, okay, so if it's a residential property, obviously you can build a structure on there and rent it out. So I guess that wouldn't matter to be considered residential or undeveloped. So I guess I answered my own question.
Yeah,
Like,
as long as it's 15 feet away from the main dwelling.
Okay.
And it's no bigger than 700 square feet, you can build a tiny house. And it's really easy to find these answers too, just so y'all know. You can call down the zoning. I'm on the phone with zoning all the time. Like, it's their job to answer my questions. So anytime I have a question, I call zoning. And all they need is an address, and they'll tell you everything you need to know what you can do with that piece of land. So I'm always calling the zoning department. I'm always calling the permits. Like, just get used to calling these type of people because they'll make you smarter. You just ask you a couple questions and sit back and let them talk. That's exactly what I do.
I think for the new agents, am I on mute? Let's see. Am I on mute?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I guess for us new agents, I guess I think our thing would be understanding who to reach out to for certain situations. So I guess as a new realtor, I wouldn't know to call down to this department, that department for this. So it's great that you're implementing these type of people we don't even know that are point of contacts. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so I know there's more to it than just zoning, but you just said another department too. Like, I guess we're learning as we go. Like, that's something new to me, and I've been in the game for over a year now. So, I mean, I wouldn't thought to call down to zoning and they can answer all your questions like that. I had no awareness of that. And then also, how much do these tiny houses cost to construct?
It depends on how extravagant you're gonna get with it. I would say you can start from anywhere from 30,000 on up. For me, I'm gonna put like some. I'm not going with the cheapest. I'm not going with the most expensive. I'm gonna try to find some kind of middle ground to justify that I could get $1,500 a month from this, or plan B, would it Airbnb out for me to make $1,500 a month or more after all the expenses are paid. So those are everything that, all the factors we got to run through our mind. I mean, of course, if I could just rent it out at $1,500, that's great. But plan B would be to Airbnb it, as long as it's generating income, I'm pretty sure we fine with it. But
Are those transferable? Can you uplift one and take it to another lot, or are those permanent, or how are those situated? How are those structured? They're not on a slab, so
I'm
are
pretty
those
sure.
movable like a trailer?
Now, I will have to call zoning and ask this question, but right off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure you can pick them up and take them where you want, because it's not its own parcel. It's just on the back of it's like a mother-in-law suite on the back of your house. You get the permit to build it, and I'm pretty sure you probably gotta get a permit to take it away, because you got underground plumbing and all that stuff. It's just not like a shed. It's a real house with plumbing, electrical, and everything. So if you're gonna put it down, you're gonna need a permit, and I'll say if you're gonna take it up, you're gonna need a permit.
One last question. How is it hooked up as far as storage and utilities and stuff like that? Like storage, is it a septic, or is it something portable, or is it something new implemented in tiny homes that we're not aware of?
That's a good question. I would have to ask my guy BTW that, how they do the plumbing and everything, because I never built one.
I'm just curious, because that would make me factor in where my land goes. If my land has accessible utilities underneath, or
Yeah,
I
would
wouldn't.
say it would be tied into your land and to the line. If you already
Okay.
have a pre-existing plumbing, like if it's sitting on the back of a house, they would just tie into that. I wouldn't think they would drop, a septic system back there. What you think, Rashad?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I guess finding land, if I was finding like rural land and I wanted to put tiny homes on it, I guess I would look for a property that had accessibility, like public storage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like I said, to give you a definite answer, I would have to ask somebody who's done it before. But that's why I'm gonna do this tiny house, because Booker T been educating me on this for the last couple months, almost like years. This is all he do. That's all he does. So, I got a partner that specializes in that. So anytime I got a question, I'll just reach out to him.
What does he do with tiny homes? What is his portfolio? What does he do?
What he does is he finds people, like when I think this was last year, Atlanta changed the zoning laws to where you can build ADU, which is an auxiliary dwelling unit, on the back of any house in the city of Atlanta. So when they changed that law, that's what he started doing. He did one for Dominique Wilkins. He built a tiny house on the back of Dominique Wilkins' house. That was the first one he did, and he just been doing it for other people ever since. So as far as his portfolio, I don't know how many he has, but I know for a fact he did one for Dominique, and he does it for other people too. Anybody else got any questions on anything?
Well, keep us posted on y'all's tiny house back there. We'd love to know what happens with it.
Oh yeah, man. It's gonna be documented for sure. For sure, it's definitely gonna be documented, man.
Well, I'm proud of y'all. Thank y'all for letting us be part of y'all's process.
Yeah, man.
And your farm is beautiful.
Huh?
I said Erica's farm is beautiful, by the way. Isn't that Erica's farm?
Yeah, it's Erica's farm. Erica, can you hear
Yeah.
her? She probably unmuted us, went to work.
Love that farm. Well, tell her I love that farm, man. That was a good one right there.
Erica, you there? Hey, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you still gonna let me keep my goat at your house?
Yeah.
I'm about to bring down my horse.
Huh?
I'm about to bring down my horse. I'm about to get. You want a horse? Erica, you gonna have a horse and a goat.
Yes, and I want to say one more thing about the septic system. You know, out there at the farm, like we had to get a septic system drop, and it was almost 10,000 because we couldn't tie into no main lines, city lines. It was nothing to tie into.
Man, 10 big ones.
How many acres? 10?
27.
Woo! Ooh, that's lovely.
It's rough.
It's rough.
Rough, yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, man, nah, that's all good, man. But yeah, I want to do more underwriting stuff like this just so we can know how to find and locate deals. And you know, so shit, we can do more deals together. I gotta do deals with Ayat. I'm trying to do deals with Crayon. Valeria, send me some deals. Me and JoJo got our thing going on. I want to do more like this so you can understand and like know that you can call down the zoning, know that you can call down to the permit office. That's what they do. They there to answer the public's questions. So you know, utilize them. And if anybody got any questions, I'm gonna continue to do more underwriting stuff if that's what y'all want. You know, was this helpful today?
Yeah.
Okay. Would y'all want
No, oh, not at all.
say that again?
Not at all. Not at all. So I'm just joking.
I know. All right, but yeah, I'm gonna do more underwriting stuff like this, and you know, hopefully, the more we do, the more comfortable y'all will get with it. I would even want to go as far as say, let's pick a property and each underwrite them individually. I want to do one more together, just to make sure y'all got it. And the next week following that, I'll just give y'all the address and everybody underwrite it individually, and then we come back and see what we came up with and why we came up with it. How that sound?
I think that would be great.
Okay.
All right, so book it. That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get another. If I buy another deal this week, I will underwrite that one. But after that, I'll just pick some random address, and everybody underwrite it individually and see what we come up with and why we came up with it. I think that'll help big time.
Definitely.
Yeah. So if y'all need me, I'm in the office. Holler at me, reach out to me individually. But go make it a good week, man.
Is the printer working good over there?
Yeah,
Right.
the printer been working. What you talking about? Don't be
When
playing.
did it start working? Don't feel like it's just been working. When did it start working?
Ever since Birdie left, it's been working.
Oh, I'm not in the office. That's why I asked. I'm sorry. I was just asking a question. My bad.
Yeah.
All right. I think tomorrow's the last day to vote.
Who y'all voting for?
That's my husband said. Tell everybody tomorrow's the last day to vote.
I
So
voted.
Who you voting for, E?
I'll be at work.
You can get off work by law. You can go. You can be let out at. They
Oh, you
can't
ain't
hold you.
voted? Oh, she done moved to that farm like fuck everybody.
It take her like 30 minutes to get out her driveway. That's a good problem to have. Trust me.
Word. Okay.
Word.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, Rashad, with the meeting because I'm still learning too. And so with this deal, it's pushing me farther and out of my comfort zone. So I definitely appreciate it.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Let's buy 1 million more.
All right. Definitely.
All right. Y'all hold it down.
All right. Y'all have a good day.
All right. Thanks again.
Bye, guys.
Bye.